Hi, Pierre. So, just so people know, we have to run a special headset for David Smoke because he's 706 years old, and because of that, we use it honestly when we do tests in the studio. I don't have to put mine or Craig's headset on. And this is the table he sits at during the main show here, and I sit over there I've got a normal amount of hearing loss right now for someone who wears headphones every day. Pierre, I'm sure you're the same way because you've had an IFB in your ear every day for a couple decades now. It's, multiple times a day, I have to turn to my wife and go, what? I'm sorry, what? It's happening. I understand that it's happening. But my level of hearing loss is consistent with this. His is beyond that of a dead person. So, it's very loud. And so we have a different amp here for him that we run it into. And when the music started playing, I reached over for the amp and it was on the ground. So I had to, temporarily go deaf. For a second.
That has happened to me in the IFB world as well. As you know, all roads lead back to Seinfeld, where the episode where Elaine thinks one guy is faking his death. The guy played by Rob Schneider. And then at the end of the episode, his earpiece falls out, so she gives it a test and sounds good. And then all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off, and then she her head explodes because it actually does work. That has happened to me in the IFB world. You think you're plugged in, and then you actually plug in, and then you're like, oh, God.
Do you have one that is just yours?
That
you keep at your desk? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we had to, last year for our pregame show, Garrett drove down here. He got here before I did. The first thing that happened was I got an alert from the power company that says, hey, the electricity is off at the at 101 Elm Avenue. And I was like, oh man, we're on. And it was we had started. Is that when we had started doing the show at 9:00 no matter what?
Yeah, it was the pregame show. It was at 9.
Yeah. So was it we had been doing shows previous years where it was we would just do it whenever the game was. And so then KWTX tells us hey, why don't we just do it at 9:00 regardless? And we were like, oh, that's a great idea. That way we don't have to worry about it. It made it better for everybody. We're done at 10:30 no matter what. If there's an 11 o'clock kick, we can just go over. If it's not an 11 o'clock kick, we can go live our lives, and all these things. So it was nice. So this particular morning, I get this message, and it was at probably it texted me maybe 20 minutes before I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wake up and I see I've got a text message on my phone, and then I hurry and jump in the shower. And as soon as I get out of the shower, it says estimated power to be returned at noon, and they say that so you're not you don't have unrealistic expectations, which is one of the few good things the power companies do here is hey, listen, we're not good at this. Or it could be bad. We're not that fast. So, I send the group text out, and Garrett's like, look, I'm about to go up there anyway. I'll tell you how bad it is. And all he sends back is, it's not. We're not. You're going to have to. And so I called Josh, the head man over there, and I was like, hey, I think we're probably going to have to use your studio today because Garrett says there's none. He goes, hey, we'll just go down and see and talk to the guys out there if they'll let you. And so I called Garrett, and he's like, hey, he just wants me to come and see what the status is. Plus, we needed to grab some things from here anyway. So I zoom in here, and as soon as I pull up, there's not one, not two, but 3 bucket trucks lining the streets because it had happened. One of them is right behind the building here, and something happened where somebody hit a pole or something in the morning, and it set off a chain reaction down the road where they had to redo all of Elm Avenue in a day, which they did. They got it done, but it wasn't until 2:00 that afternoon. So there was no power. So we had to go. And so we don't have IFBs there, but that's the only way that we're going to be able to hear anything, at that studio. So the one that they gave me was clearly for It might have been like Rusty Garrett, the old weathermans that retired.
Yeah.
They just pulled it out of the drawer because I put it in and like, and they're like, "Hey, Paul, how does it sound?" And I was like, "Jesus, man." Good, no, good. I can hear you guys in the booth really well. But by the way, who farted in there? You know, I heard that too.
Those are all people don't know. Those are all supposed to be molded to your ear. You have to actually put like this glue paste in your ear and let it kind of mold into itself for a few minutes and then pull it out. And then you send it off to a shop and they create an IFB for you.
Yeah. Oh, see, like, so no, it just gave me kind of a thing and you switched it out and I found one that fit my ear. And after doing it at a real studio, not to say that we don't have a real studio, but like a real TV studio that's set up for news, you guys have much fancier technology. Garrett's in the booth and he's just like, we don't have this at our studio. We don't have this. I don't know what that. And like they'd ask Garrett questions and he's like, I have a laptop.
Listen, trust me, I would much rather have the headsets. I'd much rather have the headsets.
Yeah.
But you know,
I did. Like, if you get the really good IFBs, which KWTX has they were really good. Like, it was crystal clear. I didn't even notice it was in my ear. Like, it was great. This is very inside baseball stuff, but you understand it, and that you're just like, oh my gosh. And then we're in the studio. And, you know, we hear the commercials and see the commercials, and it's not, you know, like we normally do, but like in the middle of it, which is something that we don't have the ability to do in the studio right now. You know, so it's like, hey, by the way, Paul, your mic's coming loose. And you're like, oh, yeah, thank you. I got it right here. Okay, no problem. All right, good deal. Well, hey, Smokey, make sure that 90 seconds out and you've got that read coming up. And you're like, well, that's Gloria. Then I'm like, hey, Garrett, can we figure out how to do that? And he's like, no. He's like, you should see it's like a friggin' laser beam or something they fire into you guys. I don't know what's going on. It's like I'm telling a guy, like, for us, we have a lot of cool equipment here, but it's like telling someone who works at Best Buy that, like, hey, guess what? Tomorrow we're going to do the same job, but at NASA.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's like you should be able to figure it out. Like, we have everything here. Like, everything that we have here, they have at NASA. It's like, well, yeah, we know that, but they also have more.
We get so many people in that situation. It's like you have so many people who are trying to make a show work or make something work, and that arrive on set or like, well, isn't it just a matter of flipping a switch or doing this and doing that? No, it's not as simple as it. I never cease to be amazed by the engineers who work for TV and radio stations. They are absolutely the most underappreciated people, maybe in the entire workforce, with some of the things that they have to do.
Oh yeah, and then like Master Control can kind of be the land that time forgot. Like, the guys who are back there. Also, it is a good job for people who don't seek out praise, who just like to who like to build and do and create things and then create the next thing. Like, once this is over, they just want to go to the next thing. And if they get a thank you now and again, like, that's enough for them. Make sure I'm paid well enough. Don't interrupt me during my lunch break and let me do my job. Like, the let me do my job people. And the ones that are really good at it is you're like, okay, here's my idea I'd like to do. Tell me how we can do it. And they like that. And they're like, oh, no, that's something. Let's do this. And then when you tell them like another idea that's stupid, they're like, no, that's dumb.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I first got into radio when I was 19 years old, our engineer, his name was Bruce. And he was a great guy, but he always had a way of first of all, when you go to him, he kind of gives you this look like, what do you want? And the second, and then he finds a way to make you feel even dumber than you already felt beforehand for coming to get him. But me and him were cool because he was a Dolphins fan. So I never really minded one way or the other. But there's guys that'll be like, you're kind of dumb. No wonder you're just punching buttons.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy how the guys do it. We like in radio, and like I've never had a regular engineer in anything I've done. We've always had to like farm that out because we're a smaller market. But when I meet like real engineers and they'll come and be like, "Well, who did this?" And I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't
Garrett.
some dumbass. I don't know. I mean, like just the guy. I mean, he like people in this building will tell you he looks exactly like me, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
He looks and sounds and talks like me and answers to my name and lives in my house, but he's not me. I didn't do that.
No, I'd never be capable of such tomfoolery. No.
I mean, that's clearly a 1/8 when it should be a quarter. I mean, like, I don't know what that guy's doing. I mean, that's why, like, when I'm a mark for getting my car fixed. I definitely need an honest mechanic. I'm a mark. I can do all this stuff in here. Like, I know it well, but also the cool stuff is we don't have it, we don't really need it because we're doing a couple of short podcasts a day. We're not like, I'm not going and like, all right, well, we got a tornado coming. Nothing I'm doing is going to save your life in the moment, right?
Soon enough, maybe. Soon enough.
Yeah.
Soon enough, maybe.
Yeah, so
you could be a meteorologist in the making. You never know.
Yeah, no. Look. Here's the deal. We have a lot of great meteorologists, but you know what? We're going to talk about your old meteorologist for a second.
Okay.
We're going to talk about him.
Okay.
I don't want this. He's retired now. You're not working with him, but you worked with a guy named Andy Anderson.
I did.
Who I would not call the world's most on top of it meteorologist. Like if you wanted to get the eggs, like there were two other meteorologists in the market. We have two, now three, with three others. If like it was the television that was on in the place that you were, he'd get it done. But if you had a choice, you would not go to him first. He was much more to me of a television personality than he was a weatherman.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I know he was an actual meteorologist, right? He wasn't like one of these.
I actually don't remember if he was. I thought he was.
Check out my go-to polo from Flag and Anthem. It's everything you want in a golf polo, but you can wear it at a dinner, to a barbecue, whatever your plans are. It's extremely soft, super comfortable. Check it out, flagandanthem.com.
But I could be wrong. I'm not 100% certain of that or not.
Andy had a way about him that, like, he just, how can I describe it? It was, okay, you know what? He was, if all the characters of Anchorman were just one person and real.
I mean, it was, he definitely had a very unique delivery, a unique personality. And, I
saw him on a horse at a parade one time and I almost died.
We shot a promo one time, and I remember the finished product. I didn't shoot the promo with him. We all, the four of us, shot it independently of each other. But the promo was him talking about, and this is not his fault at all. This was our, the guy who was in charge of promo, who I really soured on later on because he turned out to be a real douche. But so he wrote this stupid script about Andy Anderson, with Andy Anderson saying news that is rooted and unearthed or something like that. And like, who talks like that? And meanwhile, Andy Anderson
Andy absolutely does not.
No, he does not. Yeah. And he's standing right next to a horse as he's reading it as well. The weather guy standing right next to a horse, which I know that Andy's like very like Texan kind of guy.
Oh, he's a cowboy. Yeah. I mean, he's an amateur cowboy, not like but like he rides horses, and he's probably got a couple cattle out at the ranch.
To be honest with you, I wish, and this would kind of bring your Anchorman reference full circle. I wish Andy would have done the weather with a cowboy hat on. Like that would have been.
I told you guys years ago years ago when I would text you during the news, mostly to make you guys break, or to dare you to sneak in a word or some sort of reference into the broadcast. I told you guys that you needed to, like, Andy Anderson Weather Cowboy, where like the promo is him like lassoing a tornado and things like that, and lean into that, because that's only going to help. Like, that's only going to help differentiate you. But their thing was like, so, I mean, like, we had Rusty Garrett at Channel 10, who's like, he was actually not a meteorologist. He was a TV guy. And he was very good at delivering the weather. He was so popular with the senior citizens in this town, he could not go to the grocery store. Right. Like, if he went to the grocery store at a time where if you were over 70 years old, you'd be at the grocery store, he couldn't go. Yeah. Because old ladies would stop and be like, "Oh, I love the weather that you do." And, listen, my niece's baby shower is next Sunday at 4:30. Is it going to be raining next Sunday at 4:30? Can you tell me if it's going to be raining next Sunday at 4:30? Please, Rusty, tell me it's not going to be raining. And that was his life. That was his life. So he couldn't go. And, like, what a weird thing to not be able to do, because you have access to a big computer with the weather on it. But he couldn't. And then we have Matt Hines, who's like your normal straight ahead, really cool guy, weatherman. Matt, he's been here forever. And then we had Andy, and Andy, I mean, like, he got out of the studio more than any weatherman ever. Like, he would, and not like out in a field doing weather. Like, he'd be like, "Hey, I'm Andy Anderson. I'm here at the rodeo. By the way, it's going to be hot and sunny today. Why don't you come on by the Mahia Rodeo? I'm Andy Anderson. Come on by. Hey, Nikki and Pierre, you guys should come out and get in a horse. All right, sports is next."
And that's definitely how it was. That's definitely how it was.
Yeah, you weren't like, when there was bad weather, Andy wasn't wearing a windbreaker, standing in it and going like, "Hey, we're monitoring this and here, and let's go to the other weather." The young weather guy, he's even closer to the danger because he's expendable and I'm not, like, he's even over there, like, he's storm chasing. We'll go to him. No, Andy's like, "Hey, you've been to the Temple watermelon dance."
It's
Come on out here.
It's funny too, because I remember sometimes at the end of broadcasts, especially during my time at KCEN, I felt like I was a little more off the cuff, a little more hot takey. I've kind of calmed down a little bit in my older age at this point. And there would be times when Andy would be sitting across the studio desk from me, and I would get kind of a look from him, like a little bit of an eyebrow. Like, I could tell, like, on his face, like, this guy's crazy. This is a lunatic.
Look, and the reason I say Anchorman is, if you had ever gone to the map, like when they come out of the break and you come to the map, and he had just been sitting there with his scotch, and he'd been like, "Great weather today. Hope you're going to get out golfing or out riding a horse. I'm Andy Anderson, Channel 6 KCN Weather First Alert. It's going to be really clear. Ooh, that's a good burn." And like, put it down. Like, and you could see it, like, totally in the 70s. Like, I could have seen him with like a cigarette. Like,
yeah.
Right. Well, here's how it's going to go. He had that old school vibe of, I don't like, and then when, like, there was severe weather, if you did turn over to Andy, like, other guys had like this kind of like, heightened, like, "Hey, make sure you get in the shelter and do this." And he's like, "Oh, I mean, maybe over here."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, 100%. This is like, meteorology is not an exact science. I don't know what you guys want out of me. By the way, tomorrow when the storm's over, coming out to the Catalina Rodeo.
I can't tell you the number of times I heard, there might be a few sprinkles or spritzels. He made up a couple of spritzels or spritzers. I was like, spritzers? What the hell? What?
Yeah, I didn't know what a spritzer.
Like, what? So,
were you there, or it might have been Nick, your predecessor?
Yeah.
But there was a night where Nikki sent me a picture. Our good friend Nikki Lorenzo sent me a picture, and it was boiled peanuts all over the desk. Like, literally all over the desk. Like, he was eating boiled peanuts, and he was just not engaged in the first part of the broadcast at all. He was just waiting for them to say, "Andy, well, when you do that, like, you're going to, like, I mean, they just like, Andy, 10 seconds, Andy, 5 seconds. And then he just like, they're like 5 seconds. And he like, that's when he like, it occurred to him that like, hey, I've got to be standing over by the screen right now. Or it's just going to be, you know, so he had to like hop up. Well, when he did, he just knocked over this big like bowl of boiled peanuts just all over the desk.
Yeah. I would have rememred that.
Which is a very weird thing to be snacking on during a live newscast.
Yes, I would agree entirely.
It's not like a granola bar or, you know, like something like that, like grapes or something where you're just like, hey, let me get a little, you know, a cheese stick, something like that makes sense. Boiled peanuts.
No, I would have remembered that. I don't remember. I don't know if I was there for that. I would have remembered that 100%.
Yeah, I think that was Nick. I think that would have been Nick. Probably. Because it was on like a group chat of like.
I'd have to ask Nick. I might text him after the show and ask him.
Yeah, it might have been Nick. Because I just remember it vividly because the other game I would try to do is I would try to get Nikki to throw to Andy in ways that she would never do it.
Right.
And she's like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm like,
yeah.
Believe me, you'll like, yes. I tried to incept Weather Cowboy into the thing. And like, because here's the deal. I know she said it once. It's like, if we go on over to our own Weather Cowboy, Andy Anderson, he would have been like, I am the fucking Weather Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He 100% would have said, I think he would have leaned into it 100%.
Yeah. He would have been 100%. Like, yes, you're damn right I'm the Weather Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have showed it. Like, he would have had spurs. Like you would tell, like, hey, don't worry about the suit anymore. Don't have to worry about the suit. Or if you wear the suit, if you want to look, you know, like the, you know, Fort Worth oil cowboy guy, do that. Like, just lean into it.
We should have built him an outdoor weather center to wear the cowboy hat, because you probably can't wear the cowboy hat in studio. It's going to cause a lighting issue. So, yeah. I mean, but there are enough great days of weather in Waco to where he could have easily gone outside and done the weather from outside with a cowboy hat on.
Oh, look, hey, take the hat, like start the broadcast with the hat on, right?
Yeah. Oh, have to.
And then take the hat off and hang it
like a
on
Mr.
a
Rogers
hat rack,
thing,
like by the thing.
Yeah, it's like a Mr. Rogers sketch, you know, like you just, you know, you change the sweater, or that you just put the cowboy hat up on the, I totally agree.
Yeah, no, see, Pierre, this is why I love this podcast and doing it with you, because we haven't even gotten to the things we're going to talk about yet, but like a TV consultant could watch this right now and they could have the Weather Cowboy. Yes. I mean, Andy Anderson is maybe the original Weather Cowboy, but there will always be Weather Cowboys out there. And if you want to make the Weather Cowboy, Pierre and I are here to help you make it happen.
Here's the deal. Like, when it comes to like shticks and gimmicky stuff, I mean, it is what it is. However, I can't argue with the results because people remember you by that. That's how you differentiate yourself. It's like, oh yeah, that's the guy with the cowboy hat, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I mean, you have to have something.
Here's the deal. Everybody's got first wave alert, whatever. Like, everybody's got a Doppler radar. Yeah. Everybody has it. They just name it something different, so it sounds like that you have the better one. Like, they give it a cool name. Correct. You know, like, oh no, this is the Storm Track 8000, and theirs is the Storm Track, you know, is the Weather Watcher 5000, whatever it is. Like, but it's all like Doppler only comes out with like one every couple of years. Yes. You know, you all have the same software. It's all the same thing. It's not like iPhones where you can go and get like 12 different versions of the same thing. Right. They make a Doppler that's for this, and then like they make bigger ones that are for bigger things. Like NOAA has a bigger one than, say, your local TV station does, because they've got to, you know, do for the world. You just have to worry about your little zip code, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And so you differentiate by doing those things, like, you know, getting in and, you know, making it fun. So look, Pierre, if you showed up like each week, like depending on what it is, like if you were holding a hockey stick and wearing a helmet, I wouldn't begrudge you that. You know, set yourself apart. You know,
I might bounce a basketball next time I go in the studio. I'm just like, what's that for? Oh, you know, just, you know, you don't improve by not bouncing the ball around.
Here's the other thing. 90% of the sports departments in this country make the same promo over and over again, where they take the 3 or 4 people who are in the sports department, and what they do is shot to shot, they have you like passing a basketball that then turns into catching a baseball,
Right.
which then turns into scoring a touchdown, which then turns into all like morphs into all four of you in one place in the studio at one time, holding those things.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. 100%.
From the court to the gridiron,
Yeah.
from the gridiron to the diamond, from the diamond to the rink, and then you're back in the studio, and then it all like more like you've all done it.
Yeah.
You've all done it, various things, and then like, you know, Channel 48 has you covered, you know.
And you do the look. You do the look into the camera. You know?
Yeah. Channel 48 has you covered. Yeah, you get that. You get that done, and see, I could be there to be like, no, that's not what we're doing.
No.
Yeah.
No, this has been
Like
done around the country.
Yeah, so I think it needs to be the tough questions. So like, and just so Pierre asking, you know, the coach of the Timberwolves, like, hey, you know, we've seen this lineup for 6 weeks now. It hasn't done anything. Are there going to be changes? And then, like, when the coach lashes out at you because he's mad at his team and not at you for asking the question that he's been asking himself for the same weeks, and he's like, well, Pierre, that's a damn good question. Yeah. That's your promo right there.
Yeah, 100%.
Not like
the other idea I would have, as you know, I would say bring the Oklahoma drill back in the news promo. Like, put a couple helmets on, put a pad, bring the Oklahoma drill back.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll shoot a promo that way.
Yeah. No. I'm all for that. I think, look, we have spent the first 26 minutes of this show fixing local news.
Right.
Like, and you've long known this. I should be the top paid outside local news consultant. I've never worked a day in local news. I've been in many television stations, but nary a one has sent me money, and it's long overdue that they do.
You have a key fixation on local news and like how it's like you should have been a consultant. That's what you should have done. That really would have been a great.
Most of their ideas are so dumb. I can't tell you how many of you guys I've talked to, and I'll turn on the news and be like, hey, what's with that stupid tie you're wearing? They're like, they want me to wear tie, like sports guy ties. And you're like,
So much of it is lazy. So much of it is lazy thinking and just, you know, we don't. And to be honest with you, so many of them don't have an answer to the solution. They're just trying to throw up anything against the wall, hoping that it sticks. Nobody has any real concrete ideas.
Do you know how many brunette news anchor women I've had the conversation with of like when they're like, they told me they wanted me to be a blonde. I'm not a blonde.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to know what I'm trying to do. And they're like, yeah, but our research shows that people like blondes better given the news. They're like, well, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you should hire one then. You know. I thank God they didn't ask that of me, because if I had to bleach my hair, Lord knows what it would look like. Yeah. Lord knows.
Our numbers are showing us that frosted tips
back in the early aughts
and long like the Egyptian style,
the pharaoh beards.
The pharaoh beards, the pharaoh beards. Like frosted tips and pharaoh beards are what really makes a trustworthy sportscaster. You'd be like, well,
I wish I could do the pharaoh beard. Are you kidding me? You talk about differentiating yourself. If you bring that back, I wish I could do it.
That would be leaning into your heritage in a way that most people don't.
100%. And then if somebody comes after me for it, like, well, this is who I am. This is what are you trying to say? No. Like, you know.
Nobody's tried to culturally appropriate the pharaohs yet. And it's
right. No, we're low on the list. That's not a high priority at this point. Yeah. We'll get back to you on that.
All right, Pierre, when we come back, let's talk about the ACC. They are Florida State and Clemson, the ACC, are settling. Everybody's going to be friends again, and no one will have looked like a gigantic douchebag at all. One bit. That's what's great about settlements.
Yeah, I was reading the story in the dentist chair this morning. So yeah,